It would seem that For Honor Year 7 Season 1 has got off to a bit of a bumpy start in classic fashion as well. For Honor seems to always have a sort of roller coaster of ups and downs, that kind of classic love-hate relationship. But yeah, it is no surprise that people are very mixed on their opinion. I've just had a quick sort of look, a bit summarization of what has been going on in For Honor. I've been quite busy myself this week, so I haven't had a chance to fully review everything that's gone on. But what I did do is I did put out a poll on my YouTube channel, because I hadn't seen this anywhere else, just to see what people's general views were. And the large majority think that there needs to be an improvement of the game since Year 7 Season 1. I specifically said Year 7 Season 1 in the title, so obviously there's always improvements that can be made for any game, no matter what state. Nothing's perfect. But yeah, I specifically said Year 7 Season 1, and it seems like not too many people are happy. So for those of you unaware, there was quite a major change in the game beginning of this season. We got a Jormungandr rework, which went live, which has made him extremely strong. I played him very briefly the other day. I made a couple of videos about it. Literally hadn't looked at any kind of details on what had been changed when I actually made the dual vids. I just went into training mode, but he can actually use his zone to get out of a lot of GB punishes and things like that, which makes him a bit too powerful in a lot of people's eyes. Dodge changes as well have made other characters like Zanhu and Tiandi extremely powerful. Zanhu can pretty much just keep dodge heavying or dodge lighting, because he has got duo directional dodge attacks, so that makes it a little bit tricky to deal with, and I've met a few Zanhus who will continually do that as well. Another thing also is, well, I mean, Tiandi is strong to begin with, and he's become even stronger. The dodge heavy changes makes other characters like Kenzei a lot weaker. Basically everything with a dodge heavy, you can now parry it and get a heavy attack from it. Standardization changes, this is one of them basically. The other thing is how far into the dodge you can actually do a dodge attack, which is now between 200 and 400 milliseconds. Again, making basically that's why Zanhu can do what he does and get away with it. It's pretty much unreactable to most people. And also there was a bug as well, major bug, unfortunately, which meant that if you're on PC, the graphics were turned all the way up, and this then meant that you wouldn't be able to get higher frame rates that you may be used to, and unless you got a pretty powerful GPU or computer system, then the FPS is going to be way down. So yeah, there's that to bear in mind. Now, a lot of people said, "Oh, this is going to be like a literal bug," but I mean, there's always the chance that Ubisoft did it deliberately, and they were actually just testing what the player base looked like, looked like when everyone was put down to a similar FPS. So it may have been, there may be a slight chance that they were doing something sneaky. Who knows? This is just me just theorizing quite randomly, but there is always that, which I kind of thought about. And considering it is such a major issue, such a major thing to get wrong, I thought, well, surely they can't get it wrong, and therefore if they haven't unintentionally got it wrong, then why would they have done it deliberately wrong? And it could be just a sneaky thing like that. But the good news is, as they tweeted yesterday, and I immediately saw on Twitter, they have worked out a patch for it, which is coming out tomorrow. So we are all going to get FPS back on PC, which is going to make things a little bit more smooth running and a little bit more easier to deal with. So that is very good news. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. With these changes, they've come around very quickly, and the good thing is that if changes like this have suddenly you think that they messed them up very quickly, then they can be reverted very quickly. So I wouldn't worry too much. It doesn't seem like it's going to be the end of all things just because they've made some changes like this. And yeah, as I said, within a week they've already worked out a patch for the frame rate issues that have been had on PC. So yeah, it's not so much of a massive issue there. Just looking at the patch notes, so Aphira, she's had a few bug fixes, which have been good. So the Yomonga rework, as I said, a lot of people think he's a bit too powerful. There have been some infinites and things like that. So that's not ideal, as you can imagine. The dodge changes seem to have a mixed feedback on. It seems to me like it's more of a standardization change with this. They're trying to make every character punishable at the same rate, essentially, and you can get the same punishes for doing the correct reads from no matter what hero you're playing. Now the downside to this is it makes characters less unique in terms of their moves, and it means that punishes you have to have more knowledge. Now having this greater knowledge is not exactly a massively skillful thing to have, and I can imagine that, you know, Ubisoft are looking for ways to get more people interested, because at the end of the day it is a game that needs to make money and it needs to get more people involved, and I don't think that's a bad thing for anyone, but obviously it means that the veteran players that have been playing a long time, they're going to feel these massive changes and they're not going to be so happy. But I guess it is, if I was going to play devil's advocate, it is good for the game as a whole long term. So there is that as well. I think, yeah, the other thing is people are looking at characters specifically like Lawbringer. We obviously saw that he's going to receive a rework. He's going to get a lot of hyper armor and unblockable moves and chains, which is going to make him extremely strong. I mean, when I first saw the stream, I actually did it live, which I don't normally do, but for the most recent one, I decided, yeah, I'm going to do it. I said straight away, yeah, he's been pretty strong, straight away, and they reverted a few things that I noticed them say that they were going to go away from in previous reworks. For example, a triple light. They removed that on Orochi, which of course I can remember because I made the character. They removed his triple light, which a lot of people said, it's because, you know, new players don't like the spam. But then again, they've now brought it back for Raider, and now they're looking at a rework for Lawbringer with a triple light. So not entirely sure how the thinking has changed. I guess it's must have changed from people saying that light spam is unreactable or something they don't want to deal with, and they've now thought, well, let's just bring it back. So not sure. Not sure. So yeah, that's just my quick analysis overview of it anyway, and just to bring you guys up to date. I'm not going to go into anything massively specific, but yeah, just from my poll that I did, it looks like a lot of people are not as happy. But as of yesterday, as I said, it looks like changes are already being made to revert some of the, certainly the bugs at least, that we've had. And I would not be surprised if Ubisoft are looking very, very closely at what they can do to ensure that if a lot of people do really think that these changes are bad, then reverting it is always an option, and I wouldn't worry too much. I mean, yeah, it's only been a week. People also it takes time to get used to these things. There have been veteran players who've been playing it for 6 years, including myself, and parrying a dodge heavy and going for a light straight after is something that is very, very inbuilt into a lot of people. But for me personally, seeing the dodge heavy and getting a light parry punish from it has not been a massive thing that I've had to get used to very quickly. I've been more focused on trying to get a new controller, because my down button is actually broken on my controller, which is really, really annoying for me, because I've got a new controller as of 2 months ago and it's happened again. So actually PlayStation need to sort out their PS4 controllers, because that's the main issue that I'm having. And it means that I can't use my third feat in 4 vs 4, so for the game modes as you're seeing here, the new one, it means that I can't actually use that, so it's kind of annoying. I had to use the keyboard and just spam the number 3 and then go back to controller, and it lags my game out and everything like that. Speaking of which, I quite like the new game mode. The only thing is, like, it's been 6 days or so since they put it out, and actually trying to find a match took me about 30 minutes earlier, which wasn't ideal because I wanted to get some gameplay, and it was just like, nah, it's not gonna happen. So there's that as well. Also, just going back to the dodge changes, I do agree with the fact that if you do dodge a dodge bash, I think every character should be able to get a GB. I think all this crap about following up with a heavy, like, for new players especially, it just makes it too complicated. I mean, I'm used to seeing people do a move after it, and like people playing in high level duels or whatever can predict that, but I think there needs to be a simplification made for the newer players, because if we want this game to continue growing and staying around, then we want to be kind to the newer players. So there's that to think about as well. There's all these points of view. There's the people who play this, I don't know, 8 hours a day, more than that, and know everything about it. And there's people just joining, and there's people who just play for fun, and there's people who just really like the aesthetics of the game and the general gameplay. So there's all these points of view, and of course Ubisoft have to make the decision on, okay, who we're gonna please most, who we're gonna get the best outcome for, because you can never please everyone. The best case scenario is you can please most people most of the time, and then the next position is pleasing most people some of the time, and then after that it's like pleasing a few people most of the time, then pleasing a few people a little bit of the time, and then there's pleasing no one, which hopefully is not going to happen. But pleasing everyone, the main point is pleasing everyone is not going to happen. So with that in mind, I hope you guys have enjoyed the vid. Please leave your comments down below if you agree or disagree, or have any other points you want to make in the vid. I haven't gone into too many specifics this vid. I've just been giving a general overview and a couple of thoughts that I had, just because there might be a few people who are interested. I don't normally give like opinionated videos. I normally just stick to my gameplay and just have chilled gameplay focused vids. But today I thought I'd have a bit of a say in what's going on. So I hope you have an amazing rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video.